Nostalgia has a crazy ability to ingrain vivid memories into our minds, and it baffles people to this day, myself included. Today I'd like to take you down an alley of my own personal childhood and relive some of my fondest gaming memories. Maybe we'll have some fond memories of the same game. Before I get into it, I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Semtex for inspiring me to make this video. If you enjoy this video, I highly recommend you go watch his video and give his underrated channel some love. Also, this video is a little bit different from my usual video format, so if you enjoy it, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, this first segment is going to be what I call the PC era, or the pre-console era. Now, I'm not referring to a high-powered gaming PC. I'm more of referring to a rear projection monitor Dell PC that still connects to dial-up internet, struggling to run Windows 98 in the family living room type PC. If you just said, "What is that?" to any of what I just said, this segment's going to be a little interesting for you. Getting this one out of the way early, Space Cadet Pinball is a common childhood game for us dinosaurs, and it's one of the older icons in gaming. I still see memes like, if you remember this, then you deserve a senior citizen discount, which doesn't make me feel good. But yeah, nothing too complex, just pinball you can play on your computer. This is a pretty common childhood game as well. Build roller coasters, gain customers, improve a park, etc. Now, there are two ways you could play this game. You could either run a successful park and try to beat the level, or you can murder everybody with roller coasters from hell. Myself being a relatively pacifistic person, I played the first way, but needless to say, this did not help my already pretty big fear of roller coasters, which I have since overcome. Maybe because I haven't played this game in a while. This one I haven't seen mention of anywhere at all, really. And I vividly remember playing this on our family room PC, but it got to the point where I hadn't seen anything about it that I thought I just kind of made it up. I was really glad when I ended up finding some gameplay of it, and honestly kind of had a huge nostalgia trip watching somebody play the game. As to what the goal of the game is and what the abilities do, I really couldn't tell you, but I do remember just jumping on enemies and having a great time collecting fruit. I believe this would be the first platformer that I ever played. Now, this one I distinctly remember and probably could walk you through the first 10 to 11 levels. The basic premise of the game is to collect all the chips, unlock the gate, and hop in the portal to the next level. When you enter another level, it gives you a code so you can get back to that level, kind of like an early save gimmick. Needless to say, my brothers and I had a notepad next to the computer so we could write down the codes when we got to a new level. I also vividly remember one level where you run from a monster, and that kind of terrified me. I did find out while doing research on this game that this game actually is on Steam, and I think there's a second and a third version. So if you want to pick it up, go for it. Now we're moving on to the console days. My grandmother had an original PlayStation, and my brothers and I received a PlayStation 2 that we had to share. So most of these are going to be PlayStation titles. There are a few games worth mentioning, but they're pretty common childhood games, so I thought I'd just kind of get those out of the way really quickly. Battlefront 2 was great fun with my brothers, and I remember, I believe it was Mos Eisley, where you could actually have a full-on Jedi fight, and that was a lot of fun. This is also where I first started sniping. ATV Off-Road Fury was a lot of fun. I remember there were games of tag that you could play where you had a ball on the back of yours, and if you got run into by another person, then they would be it, and you tried to be it. And we would play endless games where we just run all over the map. There also was one level with a train where you can run straight at it and then ramp off the train, and that was really cool. Lego Star Wars, I mean, it's Lego and Star Wars, something pretty common for most people's childhood, so it's gonna be good. Throwville Off the Rails, I remember not really enjoying the base game as much, but they had some awesome multiplayer games that I played with my brothers and a bunch of friends. Smash Bros for the N64, obviously it's a classic, and I used to be really good as a kid, or at least I thought I was, and now I really suck at Smash. So the rest of these games I'm gonna be doing by release date, starting with the oldest.
Final round. Fight!
That being Tekken 2 for the PlayStation. Tekken is still one of my favorite series, and I play Tekken 7 to this day. When I simped, I played Jun Kazama, and when I didn't, I was playing Lee or Yoshimitsu. There wasn't anything special about this game, but I do remember the courses pretty well, and I remember racing against my brothers and even my uncle at one point. I do remember a game mode where cops would chase you and ram their cars into you, and if they slowed you down enough, then you would be arrested or whatever, and the goal was obviously not to get arrested. Moral of the story, don't slow down, just keep going. I honestly forgot about this one for a while, and I think there was a lot of trauma that came with this, as I'll get into later. Gosh, the trauma, I forgot about this. My parents were not extremely strict, but had they known the contents of this game, they probably would not have let us play it. At a surface level, it looks like just army men fighting, and that seems like a pretty good concept to sell to a 6-year-old, 7-year-old. I think there were a lot of adult jokes that went over our head, but regardless, we've played this game to completion multiple times. Along with a pretty decent campaign, the multiplayer was actually pretty enjoyable as well. It did also have its downsides. I don't even want to talk about it. For whatever reason, there is a graveyard and there are zombies. Now, children, look away. Viewers, avert your eyes if necessary, for this is the scariest thing little Kishi had ever witnessed. No, but looking back, watching through Toy Story and other fantasy worlds where toys coming to life was a really cool thing, this was a little scarring. It actually scarred me a lot. Like, let's be completely honest. Like, even to this day, I struggle to talk about it.
Welcome to SSX Tricky.
Oh boy, this is the first game we ever owned on PlayStation 2, and we started off with quite possibly the best game we ever could have. I could probably make a video off this one game alone. My brothers and I will still hunt down our old PlayStation 2 just to play this game to this very day. With sick Uber tricks and all-out characters, we played the absolute mess out of this game. To this day, I would list this game on my top 5 games ever. Part of that might be due to nostalgia, but also the fact that I can go back and play it now and still very much enjoy it kind of says a lot. When I wasn't simping, I played a guy named Brody. And when I was simping, I played a kawaii Japanese girl named Kaori.
とても可愛い。私の後ろを滑ったら僕の愛。まったね。
This may have been me showing early signs of being a weeb, and I'm okay with that. I think this game was a little bit more common of a childhood game, but regardless, I still enjoyed this game thoroughly. I think this is one of the first games that I ever felt frustrated over for not being able to complete a level. I'm quite sure I got stuck on quite a few levels and quite a few bosses. My favorite levels happen to be the ones with Coco, Crash's sister. I don't know, maybe you could help me figure out why. I was little, okay? This was just a collection of old arcade games like Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Galaga, and Dig Dug to this day is one of my favorite arcade games. I just remember this game being very chaotic and not knowing what was going on due to the power-ups that you got while playing, but that was most of the fun. Honestly, this game proves that if you add a Lego logo to anything, it makes it better. Soccer? Lego soccer. Land? Legoland. Movie? Lego movie. This game is just superior and is probably one of my favorite platformers ever. We played through this game multiple times as a kid, and I genuinely have such fond memories of playing this game. It is actually unreal. I do remember a few levels and a few tough ones, one specifically named Butane Pain, but we didn't know how to say butane, so we said buttane, and it had butt, so of course it was instant classic. The only bad part about Pac-Man World 2, no levels with Miss Pac-Man. I seriously have issues. The PlayStation 2 only had 2 controller ports, but you could get hardware that would add controller ports. And I remember this being one of the first games that we actually ever played like 4-player with. I remember having a friend spend the night and we played this game all night till like 11:30. That was late for us. On top of racing, they had some pretty fun multiplayer games. Of course, I played Coco. I'm actually genuinely surprised that this game was not more popular than it was. Maybe it was. I don't know. Let me know if you played it. I don't remember there being an overarching premise to the game, but I do remember there was a level where you had to go in a grocery store and destroy as much stuff as you possibly could. And I do remember in the Toy Story segment, there was a level that I just couldn't beat. The best part about this game, though, is definitely not what you could see, but what you could hear. The soundtrack slapped like a wooden spoon. I kind of have a soft spot for this game because I got it for my birthday and I felt like it was kind of my game. Now my brothers still played it and they still enjoyed it just like I did, but I still just kind of felt like the game was mine, and that was a cool feeling. The premise is your old man goes missing and you have to go rescue him, hence the rescue part of it. I remember the controls were actually pretty tough for me, and even to this day, I'm still kind of surprised that I got them down as well as I did. I actually can't remember if we ever ended up beating the game, but it wouldn't surprise me if we did with how much we played it. This game was actually a pretty cool experience considering we saw The Incredibles in theater when it came out. I was actually pretty fast for my age and had short blonde hair, so Dash was kind of cool to me. There's a level where Dash misses the school bus and has to chase it down and be on time for school, along with a level where Dash and Violet are like in this little hamster ball thing and they have to go destroy turrets or whatever, and it was kind of cool. Fun fact, this game was actually released on my birthday in 2004. So yeah, poggers. Now, I personally didn't own a Game Boy. My younger brother did. Obviously, since you could only have one save file, my brother and I had to share, which honestly wasn't as much trouble as we thought it'd be. We honestly just took turns progressing the game and had beat this game so many times that we could probably run through it in a few hours. There were a ton more games that I definitely could have mentioned in this list, but I would say by far the ones that I mentioned in this video stood out to me the most as a child. I appreciate you joining me down memory lane. Did you play any of these games? Which ones were your favorites as a child? Let me know. Once again, this is not my usual type of content, but I really did enjoy making it and kind of reliving some of my childhood memories. And I do have a few other video ideas in the same style, so if you are new here or enjoyed the video, please just like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And yeah, maybe you'll see a regular and consistent upload schedule from me. Until then, this has been Kishi. Have a good day.